Hello everyone, in this video we're going to go through Ojore's abilities from the closed beta test. Ojore is a Earthshaker archetype and a defense specialist. So keep in mind these abilities are from the closed beta test, and being a defense specialist, his abilities are subject to change, probably a little bit higher than some of the offensive ones, simply because they are looking at the defensive and the support roles with a little bit more scrutiny and seeing how they can kind of make these a little earlier on, more viable in the earlier ranks there. So with all that in mind, let's hop right into it and look at his first ability here. First ability, we're going to look at Stone Shell. This is kind of the theme of his build, is using the earth to do this. So he's going to harness his Geomancer Pounders to raise stones that will protect him like a shell, reducing the next 3 attacks damage by a certain amount of damage there. If Ojore activates its ability again while still having stones around him, all of them will disappear. So it's kind of like Marley's Divine Protection. If he uses it before the full effect has gone off, it'll just cancel the effect instead of refreshing. And then his first orb is going to basically increase the amount of damage that these will absorb. The next orb after that, the second orb, will increase the number of attacks that are lowered, but reduce the amount of damage they lower. The third orb is going to cause the orbs to deal damage to attackers when they get used up there. So he'll start with 3 attacks here, and then it reduces it by a certain amount of damage and shoots back a Geo Shard towards the attacker, deals damage that way. And then the last orb is going to basically give him an invulnerable state for a short bit when he activates the ability for that. And then looking at his basic attack, he's going to deal single target damage, just like everyone else's basic attack. The first orb is going to increase the speed that he hits by 10%, and then the second orb is going to increase that speed by 25%. Pretty straightforward for these basic attacks. Then on to his next ability, Seismic Strike. Ojore is going to pull his fist, then strike forward with immense strength, dealing damage to each enemy struck. He'll use Earth Magic to boost himself forward, reaching further distances the longer he holds, so he can hold this down and charge it. And then the punch will push the enemies back a bit. If they knock into something, they will get stunned for a short bit here. And then the first orb is going to make it to where he boosts himself forward and does a longer hold there to do more damage. And the third orb here is going to reduce the amount of time you have to hold in order to get a full charge. His next ability, Terra Uppercut, is going to allow him to channel the art of Ashu. Ojore is going to do an uppercut that brings a giant rock fist from the ground in front of him, deals some damage, and pushes sideways any adversary caught. The rock fist does stay in place for a while and can be pushed with this Seismic Strike that deals damage the further the enemies are from there, and to all enemies near the impact as well. Hitting only the rock will reduce its cooldown by 2 seconds. So if you only hit the rock with Seismic Strike, it reduces the cooldown of Terra Uppercut by 2 seconds. The first orb on this is going to make it to where he can hold the ability here to move the rock further. And on the second orb, he'll be able to stun the enemies near the impact as well. So not only does it deal damage to them, he also stuns them along the way as well. His next ability, Earth's Core, is going to use the Agabara gauntlets to harness energy from the Earth's core, uses that energy to burst the ground around him, and deals damage to enemies who are standing nearby. He also gets 100% damage reduction for a brief moment as well during this time here. The first orb on this is going to give him the ability to hold and charge it to make the area of effect bigger. Still going to get the damage reduction, and it's also going to reduce the movement speed of enemies nearby who are caught in this. And the final orb is going to change it from being an AoE circle around him to where he's going to put a shell on top of him instead that reduces damage that he takes, and when it ends, it explodes and deals damage to enemies who stand near. He can hold this as well and be able to move with a reduced speed area, and if he holds long enough, the shield will break and damage an even larger area. And then for his defensive ability, it's going to be Mountain's Mantle. Ojore shows that his strength is not his only muscle, but also in his voice, sending out a massive shout that reduces damage taken for 20 seconds, and also applies a stronger version of Stone Shell on nearby allies, reducing the next 3 attacks damage by a certain amount here. So this is going to be a party-wide Stone Shell. He's going to get a pretty good damage reduction himself. I don't think he puts the Stone Shell on himself for this. He just gets the damage reduction. Everybody else in the range of this will get the Stone Shell, reducing the 3 next attacks, the amount of damage they take from those. So this will be a good utility defensive for if you know the party's going to be taking a couple hits, or like damage over several hits instead of just one big hit. So this could be a good situation in certain situations, especially like in the Caladrax fight, for example, with where he raises up and kind of breathes right below him. That is multiple hits that happen, so this might be a good defensive against a situation like that, where it's not just one big hit that's going to hit them, not like a fire breath, for example, but like a damage over time, like multiple smaller hits. It can really kind of help negate a lot of that damage that way. And then on top of that, of course, he gets the damage reduction for it. So that's going to wrap up Ojore's toolkit here. I did not see many people playing this hero here. I did see some of them on the earlier ranks, like rank 1, maybe rank 2. I did not see very many people playing past that with this hero. Being a defensive type, he lacks some of the what would it be called? Some of the draw that like the player fantasy that a lot of people have when it comes to like a defensive type. He seems more like a damage dealer when you look at him. Like he's pounding the ground. He's got big fists that he wants to punch things with. But it does kind of make sense where he kind of puts the stone shells on, and where he can do that with the party as well. Outside of that, he doesn't have a lot of damage reduction capabilities. The stone shell, where it deactivates if you wait until if you use it too early, instead of just refreshing the amount of stone shells on him, does make him feel a little clunky in my opinion. I would much rather have a situation where using that stone shell ability again would just refresh the amount. I know the way these usually work, at least with Marley's ability, is you activate it and it doesn't go on cooldown until the full effect has gone through. So this would be a situation where it could have some potential to be a little better, in that it's not like a one-time block like Liam's, for example. It's more like Zugladius's shield that he puts on himself. But it does feel a little weird. I'd see like one stone shell, like one stone circling me, and want to hit the ability again to refresh it, but that would just put it on cooldown and then take off the stone shell. So I could see how this would be like, you'd have to really be paying attention to what you're doing to really maximize on his defensive capabilities. I don't know if there's necessarily a way around that, because if there wasn't, like if they put it on cooldown right away, then you'd almost always, or not always, but you could have a much longer uptime on this, because the 10-second cooldown on a stone shell, that would go on cooldown, and then as long as you only take 3 hits or 4 hits if you do some of the orbs, in 10 seconds, you could theoretically always have damage reduction on that, and that might be a little too strong depending on how the content is made. So it seems tricky at first, and to me it seems like it would be a little clunky. But if you played Ojore, comment down below, let me know how it felt. I didn't see very many people playing them, but that might just be that I just didn't get matched with those players. So if you play with them and have some experience with that, let me know how it felt. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.